Welcome to ACL Hot Minute with me, Mick Hughes, episode number 5, coming to you again from my living room. Today's artwork proudly brought to you by my son, Harry. He chose this one. He likes strawberries and mountains and clouds, so I think this one ticked all the boxes. Today's paper, it's a great one, and it very aligns so closely to what we're trying to do with the Melbourne ACL Rehab Guide in that we want patients to prove they're ready to move from one stage to the next rather than allow time to guide them through rehab. So this is a pretty cool paper that I'm breaking down just with a little slight twist on it. So Bittigan and colleagues produced this one in 2025 with the question they were trying to answer being, does a criteria-based rehab program restore jumping and hopping performance better than usual care after ACL reconstruction? So this is a double-blind randomised control trial, so a really high-quality paper comparing two different groups. So we had one group that did objective criteria-based rehab where progressions were dictated by meeting objective clinical and functional milestones versus a group that was progressed through rehab based on arbitrary time points. The authors tested all the athletes at 3 months, 6 months and 12 months after surgery using a battery of vertical and horizontal jumping tests. Now, the participants, they recruited 40 recreational athletes going through their ACL reconstruction for the first time with a hamstring graft. We had a group of 30 men and 10 women, average age of 24 and an average activity level of 7 out of 10 on the Tegner activity level score. So fairly young, fairly active, sporty population, which would be pretty classic of the person that we'd see clinically. Now, that was the guts of the demographics. The usual care group, so the standard time-based rehab, they basically went through a period of typical, very slow, easy, gentle rehab in the first 2 to 4 weeks, and then progressed slowly through rehab, and then they were doing some return to sport testing at about the 6-month mark. The criteria-based rehab, however, they got things moving a bit earlier, and they used range of movement, earlier function, they got weight bearing a little bit earlier. There were some guardrails put around what they did though. They were progressively progressed over time and added exercises over time based on criteria and predefined functional goals. The paper does break down exactly what both groups did, so feel free to jump in and have a look at that full free text article, which is underneath the link to this video. But importantly, regardless of which approach both groups did, the rehab dose was the same. So importantly, that was also accounted for, even though the content of each group was slightly different. The dosage over the course of rehab was the same. The key outcome measures they looked at were vertical jump performance, both bilateral and single hops and jumps, and they were also to a unilateral counter movement jump as well. They also did horizontal jumps, being triple hop for distance and triple crossover for distance. So the results of the paper. Results were massively different in favour, surprise, surprise, by the criteria-driven group. Were far ahead on all our outcome measures here, so big differences here. So the overriding message here by the authors were that criteria-based group performed better, and the clearest differences showed up at the hop test at the 6-month and the 12-month. Not much of a difference at the 3-month between groups, but definitely at 6 and 12 months, that's when the groups really stretched out ahead of each other. So at 6 months on the operated limb, the triple hop distance was about 422 centimetres, so 4.22 metres in the criteria-driven group versus only 3.4 metres in the usual care. So about an 82 centimetre difference there between the two groups on the triple hop for distance. The triple crossover test, there was a 46 centimetre difference, so about 3.5 metres in the criteria-driven group versus 3.1 metres in the usual care. So big difference there. At 12 months, if we look at the triple hop test again, the triple hop for distance was about 4.5 metres in the criteria-driven group versus 3.85 metres, so roughly 67 centimetres better. If we go back to the triple crossover again, there's about a 1 metre difference between the two groups. So huge differences in all our hop tests. So I guess if you're looking at this and going, so what? I think what we really need to be looking at here is that we just. I mean, I'm a big advocate for criteria-driven rehab, right? So, I'm probably already singing a little bit to the masses here, but I think we've certainly moved way beyond, guiding people through ACL rehab based on arbitrary time points. And it's clear, and it's probably one of the first papers that really shows a clear correlation between the rehab quality that you put in and the goals that you ask people to do as you progress through rehab is clearly linked to differences in performance measures. So triple hop, triple crossover, vertical jump test, they all got better with the criteria-driven rehab and significantly better compared to the usual care group. So it's a really nice pat on the back for those of us who really advocate for this criteria-driven rehab and the goals that we set for our patients and the hoops that we ask people to jump through to pass through rehab are kind of justified for a better word of it. So for me, I like this paper. It sort of sings to my biases really nicely. It kind of almost vindicates some of the work that Randall and I have put in over the years to really drive the Melbourne ACL rehab out to a wide audience and get people to really buy into the process of making sure we be guided through each stage of ACL rehab based on getting to a checklist and have some checkpoints to pass before we move from the early stages of rehab where the goal is to get the knee quiet and calm, through to developing strength and neuromuscular control, through to return to running and jumping, through to return to training and return to sport. So each step through the way needs to be, you need to have some tests that the person needs to pass before they move from one gate to the next, rather than just getting the person to pass through based on arbitrary time points. So, I've probably got nothing else to say other than, probably if you want to have a look at this paper and dive a bit deeper into the protocols that were given and some of the results, I urge you to have a look at this one. But a big win here for the group that are driving their rehab based on criteria rather than just letting time points be the guide. So, nothing more to say. So hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you enjoyed the breakdown, and feel free to open up the full text paper and dive a bit deeper into yourself. But until the next episode of ACL Hot Minute, take care of yourself, and look forward to bringing you the next episode soon.